Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast, Season 3 Kickoff Show. I'm your host, Evan Grenis, and with me as always, PGA Tour Champion, Andrew Novak.
Yo, what's up? We are back. Season 3 coming to you live. As we are starting our episode, Keenan Allen announced to the Chargers. So I guess
Keenan
chaos
Allen back to the Chargers.
just literally the moment we hit record. So I guess, everybody's a little bit excited for Screenplay
Kind of makes
Podcast to get
sense,
back going.
actually. We'll get into that then. If you like the Screenplay Podcast, please get on YouTube and subscribe at Screenplay_podcast. We're on socials at Screenplay_podcast. From now through the Super Bowl, you can catch us Wednesdays, 8 a.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We have also launched the ScreenplayPodcast.com. On there, you can find our picks of the week, merch, Andrew's schedule, where you can see him on tour, and more. So get up there, buy something, support. All right. You just said Keenan Allen. Let's.
Well, he knew we were doing AFC West this week, so he timed it out
He
perfectly.
did. We are getting into the AFC West this week, so yeah, we'll have to mention it. Where are you right now? So you're out in Memphis, is it?
I'm in Memphis, yes.
So as one season is starting up, the other is ending. You're getting into what is it? The first leg of the playoffs.
That is
Memphis.
Intentional. Yeah, we have no interest in trying to compete with NFL for TV coverage Sunday. So yeah,
that makes sense. But you've had a crazy good season. So you're number 12 in the FedEx Cup. We got Memphis this week. What is it? BMW in Maryland next week, and then the final one's Tour Championship in Atlanta. Are you locked into the Tour Championship? How does that work? Do you need to play well these next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, playing well is good. I think I'm pretty close to basically mathematically in. I would have to play very poorly, and I don't plan on doing that.
No. We hope for some good play out of you. It's got to be hot there in Memphis this week, isn't it? Probably.
It's it's going to be low 90s, but I think it's been like high 90s in the past, so maybe not as bad as what it's been. But
all right. Well, good luck this week. We'll be following you all the way to the Tour Championship. You can go to our website and see exactly where Andrew will be playing. For the NFL offseason, biggest news, biggest storyline that you're looking forward to. What hit you the most from this offseason?
Just in general, how much I miss football when it's gone. I know that's not necessarily a storyline, but oh my goodness, this felt like a long off season. For me, I think this year will be a season to watch bounce backs. I thought there were a lot of good teams like 49ers, Bengals, missing the playoffs, playing terribly last year. Mahomes not playing as well as he wanted to in the Super Bowl. Like, I think this is going to be a big year for sort of bounce backs. The Lions had an unbelievable season. Now they lose their OC, but they lost in the first round of the playoffs. Like, how do they bounce back from that? I think everybody kind of expects to see them back in the playoffs, but how do they respond? So I think, it kind of goes with any season. Really, only one team ends up happy at the end of it, but I think a lot of teams have something to prove this season, especially after last.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be the NFC North. There's just a couple storylines there. You can pile them all into one. That division, I mean, you got so many coaches leaving the Lions. Like, can they repeat the type of success they had last year? You got Caleb Williams, year 2 with the Bears, bringing Ben Johnson in. What can Ben Johnson actually do with Caleb Williams, that offense? Can he get a 4,000-yard passer? Can they get to the playoffs? What can they do? And then J.J. McCarthy, I think, is a big question mark for everyone. If the Vikings went and won, 12 or 13 games, or if they won 4 or 5 games, like, I think you could see it going either way. I don't think anyone really knows what J.J. McCarthy is going to be in the league. And then Green Bay, I haven't heard absolutely anything out of him. Just sleepy, which is what I really like from the offseason. So that entire division, NFC North, we're going to get into it at some point in a few weeks. But a lot of storylines coming out of there. So this week we are doing AFC East and AFC West. We are going to do a deep dive, real life football, real life X and O's, and then we'll do a deep dive into fantasy points, who you should be drafting, who you should stay away from, rookies. So let's get right into it. Deep dive. Let's start with the Bills. Bills storylines, headlines. What are you looking for the Bills coming into this season?
Yeah, the Bills obviously go as Josh Allen goes. He is Superman. He runs that offense. through himself, essentially. It hasn't really mattered who he's had at wide receiver. He has not had the greatest weapons. He had Diggs for a bit, but that offense still puts up points. It still works. They just re-signed him 6-year, $330 million in the offseason. Crazy, crazy deal. $250 million guaranteed. Absolutely deserved. But they really haven't done much as far as wide receiver. They signed Josh Palmer, Elijah Moore. Like, these are kind of some filler pieces. I think this offense, they're just kind of going to let Josh Allen just take over. It doesn't matter who's out there. He's just going to put the ball in the end zone.
I did see Shakir, so probably the number one wide receiver. He's out right now. I think it's an ankle injury. They're calling that 4 to 5 weeks. Season starts in 4 to 5 weeks, so we'll follow that as it goes along. James Cook, he's on a holdout right now, but just announced today. A hold in. He's in a hold in right now, so still at training camp. But Kyron Williams got paid today. Or was it? Yeah, today.
Yeah, today.
3 years, $33 million. So that's a good sign for James Cook. There's a number to work with. You can only assume he's going to be above that number. But I think you can pencil it in now. Bills AFC East champs. As long as Josh Allen is there in his prime, I don't see that one changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job this offseason really focusing on the defense and what they could do there. I think they understand with Josh Allen at quarterback, it doesn't really matter what's around. He's going to put the ball in the end zone. And to me, a lot of their signings look like they were really trying to lock stuff up for the defense. We talked about it maybe last year a decent bit, just about how it felt like the window was closing because the defense was aging. Some of the signings weren't necessarily younger signings, but going out and getting like a Joey Bosa or something like that, something to add to the defense that maybe gives it another element. Something that
he's not like going to be an 11
down.
and a half, 12 sack guy anymore. But what you're looking for out of Joey Bosa is to be healthy going into the playoffs and potentially get 1, 2, 3 sacks in the playoffs. And if that can happen, I mean, they're paying him $12.6 million. Like, yeah, if he can help out with any sacks in the playoffs, like, it's worth it, I believe.
They went out and got one of my former Panthers, Shaq Thompson. I mean, he was, captain of defense for years for the Panthers, basically running the show for a very bad football team. Now he gets to go to a good football team. I'm sure he'll be very, re-energized to get to see some wins and string together, probably a good season. I don't know, like, going through it all, like, I'm not sold all of the signings are necessarily enough. Like, I don't see this being like an elite defense, but I think it's a like serviceable defense based on what I'm seeing. They need to stay healthy. They've had health issues on the defensive side, especially in the secondary in the last few years. So that's obviously going to have to be good. But yeah, I agree with you. This is kind of a weaker division. Like, I do see the Bills, taking this division for sure.
They don't have like the big names everywhere like some other teams do, the flashy names, maybe like the Dolphins do in their own division, but they know what they're looking for. They're going to run the game through Josh Allen. They're going to run the game through James Cook. He's going to have hella touchdowns this year once he gets his contract going. I was looking at let's get into their schedule while I'm talking about it. So their over-under for the year is 11.5 wins. It's a ton. But when you really break this down, I found it that they have like 6 go-either-way games. And 5 of them are at home this year. Big break. So I'm going to take you through some of these games I think that are go-either-way games. Week 1, Ravens at Bills. Games at home. Week 9, Chiefs at Bills. Games at home. Week 11, Bucks at Bills. Games at home. The only one that I'm seeing go either way that's away is at the Texans. Bengals at Bills at home. Eagles at Bills at home. So out of their hardest games, most of them are at home. I expect them to take them. And then if you are betting the Bills over under win total this year, I think you do have to take into account that regardless of their schedule going into week 18, that is their last game at Highmark Stadium. They are going to be wearing red helmets. I think they're going to want to put a good stamp, put a good ending on that season. So I think that can only bolster, towards a win for the last game of the season. What are you seeing out of the Bills schedule and what they got?
Yeah, they do play a lot of tough teams. I mean, they are, like you said, 11.5 over-under. That's tied for the highest over-under in the league right now.
Right.
and they play, I believe, every other team that also has 11.5 as their total for the season. So, they play the Chiefs, Eagles. They play these top teams this year. That's just the way the scheduling worked out. So I think we're going to get to see, how they stack up in the regular season before they potentially meet all these teams in the playoffs. I don't know how much it being the last game factors in, but yeah, I do like the home schedule there. I think they can definitely go over that 11.5. I really think if the injuries are under control, I do see this being like a 13-4 type team.
That's exactly what I have them at, 13-4. Just with all of those tough games being at home, I expect them to take 4 or 5 out of those 6. Let's get into another AFC East team. The Patriots. This is my team. You can see my Brady, my May jersey behind me. I'll get into the storylines. Basically, we got new everything. Head coach, Vrabel. OC bringing Josh McDaniels back in. DC, Terrell Williams had a little health scare this week. We got Diggs. We got Drake May, year 2. I put in a bubble right here, playoffs, ? Because I think that's kind of like where we're at on the Patriots. I think they're going to be a bubble team, going to be riding it all season. When you look at the additions to or subtractions from the Bills, it's not a ton. And then you go over to the Patriots, and it just it fills my entire page. Like, you added Stephon Diggs, Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury, Harold Landry, Josh Dobbs, the Pastronaut, Mac Hollins. He's not going to be a factor, but we added him. I mean, there's a ton of players. That's not even all of them. Lost a couple players. Bentley, Andrews, our center. Joey Sly, our kicker. So we'll have to get a new kicker in there. But yeah, just absolutely new team on the Patriots. What are you seeing from a non-Patriots fan?
You did draft a kicker, and a good one too. I think the Patriots are probably one of the most popular sleeper teams right now. Like, if you start asking people like who their sleeper team, I feel like it is a very common answer that people think the Patriots are on the upturn. Actually, I was playing with Keegan last week, and he's big Boston sports guy. He was not. He did not like that. He's like, I kind of liked when we were flying under the radar. And now everybody's kind of putting some expectations on him just because they do see the potential there. I think y'all had a fantastic offseason. Did a lot of things to go out and put better pieces and just in general more help around Drake May. I think the O-line signings, you talked about Morgan Moses. They went out and got Will Campbell, 4th overall in the draft. Second round turned around and got Kyle Williams. Or that might have been 3rd round. No, sorry. Second round was Travion Henderson. 3rd round, or third pick was Kyle Williams. Either way, these are pieces that will help the offense, help Drake May, function, score points. I think Vrabel will have that defense playing well. I thought the Milton Williams signing, I thought he was going to be a Panther, but ends up as a Patriot. I thought that was a fantastic signing. I think that this is a team that, especially if they get positive momentum going early, you have a good bit of cap space. This is a team that you could see making some big splash moves potentially at the trade deadline and really make a playoff push and a push to even maybe win a playoff game or 2 this year.
Yeah, I mean, they got a new O-line, they got new coaches, they got new wide receivers. I want them to come out the gate playing hot, thinking it's all going to work, but honestly, sometimes these things take time. I have them going off to a slow start, but if you get into the middle of this schedule, at the Saints, at the Titans, Browns at the Patriots, Falcons at the Patriots, I mean, there is a lot of winnable games. Start stacking some W's together, get some confidence, and then, like you're saying, late by week 14. I don't know what the trade deadline is, but like you said, with cap space,
week 8 or 9 or something like that.
Is it that early?
It's kind of early, like maybe like week 9 or 10 or something like that.
Either way, we got a couple tough games to start. You got Steelers, you got Bills in there. I think those first five games, 5 weeks are going to be a little tough, and then once we get to the middle of that, it gets going pretty good. Let's get to another team in the AFC, the Jets. Big storylines for the Jets this year. What do you got?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was going out and signing Justin Fields. They didn't go out and try and draft a quarterback, anything like that. They said, we're going to go get this guy and build the offensive line and go out and get a defensive head coach, and we're going to most likely play a somewhat ugly brand of football and try and win some games that way. I think they have the backfield to do it. I think they have a sneaky good offensive line after, drafting a top 10 or spending a top 10 pick on an offensive lineman. I think it was a top 10 pick last year on an offensive line, if not maybe it was top 15. So, I think they're going to run the ball, pound the rock, and hopefully not ask Justin Fields to do too much.
Yeah, anything positive, I think, for the Jets fan is what they're looking for. Some energy, some excitement. Just wipe anything clean of what Aaron Rodgers did out of the Jets organization. I mean, anything positive is really, I think, what the Jets are looking for this year. I don't even think they're looking to make any playoff run or anything. Just a nice,
Yeah.
solid,
I mean,
year.
Jets fans got to be happy though. They did lock up Garrett Wilson and Sauce
Yeah, and
long
then they went
term,
out
so
and
they got those
they got
contracts
some help
done.
on the defense as well. They got Brandon Steffens, Ravens defensive back, got him for 3 year, $36 million. They added a safety. I think their defense is going to be solid, and they're not going to have to put up 30 points to win games. They're not going to have to ask Justin Fields to do too much. I am excited to see OC Tanner Engstrand. He is the offensive coordinator of the Jets now. He was the Lions passing game coordinator. In my head, it's like you want to say like, oh well, like he just came from the Lions and he was the passing game coordinator. Like, can he do some Goff Amon-Ra stuff? It's like probably not. So we'll slow it down. But Justin Fields did play at Ohio State with Garrett Wilson, and you got a solid passing game coordinator coming into that offense. So I'm hoping maybe they can rekindle
People,
some of that Ohio State stuff and get some positive offense going this year.
yeah, people do like to give Fields a hard time for his passing, but he really did support a good fantasy wide receiver with DJ Moore. I think it's very reasonable that Garrett Wilson could have a solid year. Fields, it's been reported, has looked a little bit rough in camp, but uh, he's kind of one of those quarterbacks where, if there's no pads on and stuff, it's not really going to benefit him as much. Like, I think he benefits when it's game time, when he can move around, when linebackers are fearing the threat of him running, and it opens up some holes, in the intermediate parts of the field. Again, I don't think this is going to be a high-powered, crazy offense, but I don't think it needs to be. I think the identity of this team will be, honestly, somewhat similar to that Steelers team that Fields won a few games with last year.
Yeah, I got a couple good backs there. Let's look at the schedule. Their over/under is 6.5. The beginning of the schedule it's pretty tough if I'm being honest. Starting off, we got Steelers at the Jets. That's going to be that's going to be a good.
What's
there's
the total
no,
of that game?
I don't know, but there's no chill out of the NFL. Like if you look at the Week
Yeah.
1 games, it is just straight rivalry matches based on storylines, like all
Yep.
across the board. So Week 1, Steelers at the Jets. Everyone's going to want to watch that. But then you get Bills at Jets, at Bucks, at Dolphins, Cowboys coming into town, playing Denver over in London. At the Bengals, there's a lot of L's through their bye is week 9. 1, 2. So I have them 2-7 through what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2-6 through that stretch. I mean, I have them stacking some wins here at the end of the season to get to 7-10. A very typical Jets result for a year, but yeah, by week 9, by the bye week, I think you can. This season's pretty much over with.
Yeah, I think 7 wins, like, that would be a decent year. I'm sure they kind of want more, but, like, I don't know. Realistically, there's just not a lot of firepower there. It's going to be hard to stack up a bunch of wins without that. I really hope Fields stays healthy for the whole year. I do think that he could be kind of a fantasy darling, but as far as like a quarterback that's going to win you a bunch of games, I'm just not sold yet.
Yeah. All right. Last team in the AFC East. We'll talk about the Dolphins. Storylines here. Mike McDaniel, I think his name's starting to get popped around on the hot seat a lot. I started saying this last year a ton, how every year 6 or 7 coaches get fired. And like you look through the list and you're like, I can't find 6 or 7 coaches to get fired. Mike McDaniel is on that list for me of 6 or 7 coaches that are going to get the boot this year. His overall record, currently it's 28-23. It's not the worst, but we got, Tua's health we're worried about. Tyreek is saying something new literally every day. Like, I think today I saw that Tyreek was saying he's actually taking notes now, like in video meeting rooms. It's like, bro, you've been in the league for like what, 10 plus years. Like, how is this the first time you're taking notes? Or he said like, this is the first time I actually understand how our offense is working. It's just some of the things that he says are absolutely mind boggling. What do you think of the Dolphins this year? Are they going to be offensive firepower or a dud?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things you already mentioned there is like Tua's health. I do think that they went out and they probably have the best backup quarterback situation they've had since Tua's there. I think between Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers, you can probably
We've got the
get.
best backup quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think you can get
That's
through a few games, but yeah, really, like you need Tua to stay healthy, and I think that offensive line is going to determine a lot. One of the big staples of that Mike McDaniel offense is the ability to run the ball and the
and they
ability for
cannot
that
win out.
to open up the play action game. If you can run the ball well enough, it makes it really hard for teams to sit back in that too high shell that has kind of handicapped their ability to throw deep and throw those intermediate crossers and stuff that Waddle and Tyreek just absolutely killed people with. And they could not run the ball. They couldn't get any push last year. So they, made some signings to address that. James Daniels, they took a second round guard, Jonah Savaiinea. You want to try that one? But no, I think that the idea there is right. I think that they understand that they've got to get back to that identity of being able to run the football to open up that pass. I'm just not sure that that's going to happen. I have health concerns for the team. I have leadership concerns for the team. I could definitely see this one just crashing and burning.
I think their team got worse in the offseason. I'm looking at their additions, what they lost. I mean, they lost a lot on defense. Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Javon Holland. I liked
Okay.
Mozart in the backfield there. He went to the Raiders. They lost Jonnu Smith to the Steelers. I think they got hosed on that deal where what was it, Jalen and Jonnu for Minka and a
Yeah.
pick. So they gained Minka Fitzpatrick. They get Darren Waller out of retirement. That is going to be absolutely nothing. There should be no
One
excitement.
one signing to keep an eye on. They did sign Willie Gay, and camp reports have
I
him
see
kind
that.
of
They got,
balling right now. So
yeah,
that could be
Willie
one to
Gay,
watch. But
KJ Britt, Tyrell Dotson. They got a bunch of linebacker depth. I do like the Willie Gay signing, but it seems like they're worried about bodies. They added a couple offensive tackles, like you're saying. I just think their additions and subtractions comes out to a negative. I don't think it worked out in the positive for them, but we'll see heading into the season. Their over under is 8.5. Just right off the bat, to me, that sounds ridiculously high for the type of words and encouragement we're giving this team right now. What do you say?
yeah, I think it even opened at 7.5. I think it even bumped up one because one of the things I saw it at 7.5. So I don't know where that positivity is coming from, but yeah, I think maybe they're hoping that they can beat up on the Jets a little bit, maybe sneak one from the Patriots. This is a team like if you told me that this team won like 11, 12 games and Tua stayed healthy the whole year and Tyreek was like actually healthy and didn't have wrist issues like last year and it looked like normal Dolphins and they were slinging around, put up a ton of points, won some games, I'd be like, okay, that's actually like somewhat reasonable. Like they do have like really some quality like edge rushers, depth pieces that can maybe be some game changers on the defensive side. I think Chop Robinson, Jalen Phillips, if he can ever stay healthy. So I could kind of see it, but like I could also very much see this team going 3-14. Tyreek walking off the field in like week 5, and like it just being a mess.
I don't think Tyreek finishes this season like with the Dolphins. If this starts off poorly, I got them going 2-2 through the first 4 weeks. Everyone's like going to be like, they're fine, they're fine. It's the first 4 weeks, like everyone's fine. After that, I think it's where it gets really ugly. I got them, at the Panthers, I got them losing that. Chargers coming into town, I got them losing that. At the Browns, got them losing that. At the Falcons, got them losing that. And then this is where it gets interesting. They got Ravens, Bills, Commanders, and Commanders are over in Spain. So the NFL is setting them up real nice for 3 losses right there before their bye week. Ravens, Bills, Commanders. You just lost your 7th game in a row over in Spain. Mike McDaniel, you can stay over there. You're not coming back to Miami. Week 12, Bye week, Mike McDaniel's gone. That is my prediction.
That would be big. I would be a little bit surprised if both the Panthers and the Browns beat this Dolphins team, but you never know.
I mean, I think we're forgetting that like the Browns do have an okay defense. Like there are going to be
Yeah,
games where the Browns put up 14 points and win. It's going to happen.
that's as long as they don't turn the ball over and just
Right.
set up teams with points. But yeah,
And then the Falcons are a team that I think you're going to look up and you'll be like, oh, shoot, the Falcons put up 41 points again. Like, I don't know how their defense is going to be, but, like, I think their offense is going to have a ton of firepower. So if you can't, like, put up numbers with the Falcons, like, I think you could walk in there and take an L very easily. All right, let's get into the fantasy side. That was real life football. Let's get into fantasy. This is not real life, but I created my own model for these players, these teams. It took me so many hours. It's about 25% based on OC, 10% on trend, 15% on the schedule, 25% on past history, and then another 25 just straight on opinion. I know Taco has been railing me for that. I'm like, yeah, I think this guy's going to play 14 games this year. I don't think he's playing 17. And that's just where the opinion comes in. So let's start with Bills. We said it. They didn't have a ton of weapons, a ton of big names, but what do you got for Bills fantasy wise?
yeah, I think the top is like clear. Like I think Josh Allen, yes, draft him. He is very, very good. I don't think people really need to be told that. Um, I think more of it comes, in the pieces around, and that is a little bit of dart throws. But I'm willing to take some dart throws at where some of them are being drafted. I think Ray Davis is a solid option, especially with James Cook. There's some potential contract issues there. Uh, James Cook did score a ton of touchdowns last year. I'm not sure that that's like entirely sustainable. He's a good player, but what if he gets dinged up? What if Ray Davis takes some work from him? That could be something to watch. I like Khalil Shakir in that offense. I think he's super reliable, especially in a PPR format. He's good for 4, 5, 6 catches a week. Very reliable. Maybe not a ton of touchdowns, but if you have like a bye week or something, he can definitely go in and probably get you double-digit points. But yeah, I am definitely a little bit concerned about James Cook this year, just in how many touchdowns he scored last year to boost up his total points. I'm not entirely sure that is completely sustainable, especially with Josh Allen's ability to kind of vulture rushing touchdowns.
I'm on the I mean, I like James Cook. I think those touchdowns stay steady. I'm just like, who are the weapons that are going to put the ball in the end zone? Like, it's not Shakir. Keon Coleman, we're kind of out on him a little bit. It's not going to be Joshua Palmer. Ray Davis is small. I mean, I think Dalton Kincaid's going to have a solid year. I got him. I got it. With the weapons they have, I think Kincaid's going to have to put up some catches, probably some touchdowns. I got him at the ninth tight end on my board currently for this year. And like you said, I think Josh Allen's going to have to be Superman. I have him at QB number 2. There's only one QB ahead of him. Y'all can guess who that is. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple weapons here, but there's only a couple. It's Josh, James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, and we got to see with Shakir with this injury. Before this injury, I had Shakir at wide receiver 29. So, like, yeah, like an off-week wide receiver, great, perfect. But with this injury, we'll see if that bumps him back a little bit. When we look at their draft board, draftable rookies in fantasy, I put absolutely none. What do you got?
Yeah, I think
They just basically win all defense in the draft.
yeah,
So,
their
there's really
first
no rookies.
their first 5 picks of the draft were all defense, and I think 6 of their first 7. Like
Yeah.
they very much were focused on bolstering that defense and letting Josh Allen be him.
All right, let's move over to the Patriots fantasy wise. There are a ton of weapons here. Almost too many weapons for fantasy value. I'll start with Drake May. I got him putting up 260 fantasy points. That would be quarterback number 21 in my model. I think he's a really good second option for your quarterback. I don't think he's going to want to be your starting quarterback in your 12-man league, but if he's your second quarterback and you have to use him a couple times, like I think that works just fine. He does have the potential to rip off some 30, 40-yard runs on any given week. When I look out through the rest of his weapons, like he's got some good players with him now. He's got Ramondre, he's got Travion Henderson, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams, Pop Douglas, Hunter Henry. That rock is going to get moved around. I think you're going to have some weeks where, you're like Drake May completed passes to 7 different guys, which is great for the team, not so great for fantasy. As far as weapons, I mean, both of the running backs, I got them ranked in the 30s, Diggs in the 40s, Williams in the 30s. I mean, it's just a bunch of good players all over the board, but nothing that pops off the screen that you're going to want to draft high. What do you see?
Yeah, I think you are significantly lower on Drake May than most. I would say most people have him probably as a top 15 quarterback, just simply based on, I mean, he could be a top 5 runner at quarterback in the NFL right now. So I could very much see him ending up being a top 10 quarterback by the end of the year, especially if he ends
Okay.
up running in 6 or 7 touchdowns. I think that's very possible. I definitely agree with your statement on spreading the ball around. They have 2 good tight ends, Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, but you can't really
Right.
start either because you don't know who it's going to. You have 2 running backs that can both catch the ball. You have multiple wide receivers. So if I am taking a dart throw there, I will probably go with the player that I think can do the most with the least amount of work. And I think to me, that's Kyle Williams. I think he's the kind of guy that even if he's only getting 5 or 6 targets, he can turn that into 100 yards. I mean, he could hit a bomb. It's hard to rely on that, but I will take the talent there. I think he's a good option in this offense. And then I'm cool taking either running back. I think both have potential. Probably Travion slightly more just because I think he's probably got a little bit more juice to him than Ramondre.
Yeah, I got Travion and Ramonde right around each other. I was texting you guys like a month ago. I think Ramondre's got a terrible contract. I looked at it. I think it's like, I don't even remember off the top of my head. It's like 4 years and it's a ton of money. And I was like, just based on his contract, they kind of have to use him. So
I
it's
think
unfortunate.
I think he
What do you
kind
think?
of blew up last time. When was McDaniel last year OC? Because I think he kind of blew up like McDaniel's last year as OC. So I think there's some familiarity there.
We'll check it out. Either
But
way, it's
yeah,
way
I'd have
too
to
much
look.
money when you draft a running back in the second round there. Um, All right, let's get into the Jets fantasy. This team might have just the least weapons on it to draft out of all of them. This is bad. So we got I got Justin Fields actually just above Drake May at quarterback number 20. Again, I don't think he's going to be somebody that you want starting every week. But I do think that he is somebody, if you have to throw him in, you can. He can go off for those 30, 40-yard runs. I just think they're going to pound the rock so much, and they're going to have Fields throw the ball 18 times that he's not going to be able to put up a ton of fantasy points like people think he can. Well, who are some players people should be looking at to draft on this Jets team?
Yeah, Justin Fields is like he's very polarizing. I think with the fantasy football handicappers, I've seen people have him QB6, QB7 this year. Some people are just crazy high on his running ability. I do think this offensive system could be good for him. He has 2 good running backs that he's handing off to. I again don't know if there's going to be like enough touchdown volume for the running backs to be like great options, but yeah, I think Brees is fine. Fields, even though he is a runner, actually does check it down to the running backs a little bit, so you could get
Yes.
some passing game work there. As far as pass catchers though, like Garrett Wilson, and that's it. Like I don't think that anybody else. Like you could argue dart throw on Mason Taylor being like a good, but the thing with Mason Taylor, he could be a good rookie tight end and still catch like 3-4 balls a game in this offense. Like
That's exactly what I got. So
yeah,
Mason Taylor, for people who don't know that name, he is the Jets draft pick out of LSU, second round pick, tight end.
yeah.
Just based on the names and the volume of where he is going to have to throw the ball. I do have Mason Taylor with 142 fantasy points, which marks him at tight end 20. So yeah, late dart throw. I keep seeing everywhere. What do you got? What?
It is very possible Garrett Wilson has a 40% target share this year. Like that's not an exaggeration.
No, yeah, I
So
got him up there at number 6. I mean, he's definitely going to be with. I think that Ohio State connection plus bringing in that Lions passing game coordinator is going to be good for those two. But I keep seeing all over social media how Braylon Allen is just like so good, and how it's like it's not running back 1 and running back 2. It's running back 1A and or 1 and 1A with Brees Hall and Braylon. Like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it until I see it. Like, Brees Hall is the guy. I don't have him as like a top 5 fantasy running back, but like he's the guy in the Jets, and I think Braylon Allen is that clear number 2. I'm not buying this 1 and 1A until I really see it. I mean, Braylon Allen had, I think it was like 85 fantasy points last year. Like it wasn't anything outstanding. Like he showed flashes. So until I really see it. Like, I'm not buying that. Where are you on Braylon Allen?
Yeah, I think he's good short yardage, good situational, but as far as fantasy points, he'd have to score touchdowns to be super relevant to me. I don't think he's going to rack up enough carries to have a ton of yards, so it'd have to be touchdowns, and I just don't think this offense is going to produce that many touchdowns. So it's hard for me to see a path to being like a clear cut like RB1 or anything like that. If Brees Hall got hurt, there is definitely some potential there, but again, even without that, I think he'd still fall into the RB2 category. So,
All right, Dolphins fantasy. They do have some playmakers here. I'll start with. I'll actually start with Tua. I don't have him on my draft board just because of his unpredictability at health. So yeah, I mean, if he stays healthy all year, it could be fine. But I just don't even have him on my draft board. The top player I got here on the draft board, Achan. I got him at the number 7 running back. I think that the departure of Jonnu Smith will get Achan a couple more catches out of the backfield. My big storyline here though is I got Tyreek on a down year. I got him wide receiver 31. Whether that's missing games, just not on the same page with Tua, hurt, whatever that is. I have him at wide receiver 31. Waddle, on the other hand, I got Waddle coming up, wide receiver 17. I believe it is a contract year for Waddle, and he's going to want to put up some numbers. He has had a top 10 wide receiver fantasy year in the past. As far as other players, like, it's a whole lot of nothing. Like, don't be drafting Darren Waller.
do not do that, people. Please.
I got some of these running backs as undraftable: Jalen Wright, Madison, Ollie Gordon. Like, they might be good players, but like, these are guys you're gonna be able to find on waivers after your draft is over. Anyone else I missed there? I mean, there's not a whole lot out of this Dolphins. Where are you at
Yeah,
on
I would
Tua?
I would agree with that. I think this offense kind of it sort of does run through a few different people. I would say for the last few years, it definitely, this is not really an offense where they're throwing to like 8 different guys for the most part. It's, maybe 1 or 2 running backs and then your main 2 wide receivers, and that's most of the work. I think that if you want to go take a shot at Tyreek because his price is so low, I've got no problem with that. I think it's like super boom or bust. Like, you do need to be prepared for that to be like a potential like serious flop of a pick, but I think there's like also clear upside there. He was injured last year. If you think him being healthy this year could just be back to normal Tyreek, then that could be a steal of a pick.
All right, let's get over into the AFC West. That was the AFC East. We're going to get into the AFC West. This is going to be an exciting division this year. We're going to do a deep dive now. Real life. This is not fantasy. This is some real life football. We're going to start with the Raiders. Storylines here. New everything. You got the Brady part ownership. You got Geno coming in. You got Ashton Genty being drafted. You got the Pete Carroll running the ship now. I'm just looking for some excitement out of the Raiders. I mean, in my head, I think you got to pencil these guys in as 4th in the division. I mean, I don't know how they're going to get past the Chargers. They're going to get past the Chiefs, the Broncos. I'm just really looking for some excitement out of the Raiders. How about you?
Yeah, the more I was going through it, the more I was looking at it, like, I think this actually could be a somewhat exciting team to watch. I think this offense could be running as one of the more underrated in the league right
Yep.
now. I like a lot of the pieces they added. I'm not sure how much the defense is going to be doing this year. Like, you have a Max Crosby, but like, if they get past him, they probably are scoring. So, yeah, Pete Carroll ran the ship. Like, defense could end up being a little bit better than we expect, but still, I'm thinking with Chip Kelly running this offense, it'll be a little bit higher paced. Potential good fantasy options just because it's higher paced, and potentially having to play catch up a lot. I think Gino is going to be asked to throw the ball a lot, and I do think they have some pieces around him that he can throw to. So
Raiders come off
I'm
to me as
excited.
like that like spoiler team where you're just like, oh, they beat that team this week. Like, yeah, that
I
makes
could
sense.
see
Like,
some of that. Yeah,
they just like pop off and they beat some of these teams that you weren't expecting. So they're over under set at 7.5. That is kind of exactly what a team that you have no idea they're gonna do is set at. I got them going 7-10 when I look through this. It's just, I mean, I got them. There's some wins in here. Like some Jaguars, some Cowboys, some Browns, some Bears, some Titans. But like at the end of the day, they're playing the Chargers twice. They're playing the Broncos twice. They're playing the Chiefs twice. It's just a tough go around when you got that group.
Yeah, and my biggest concern with them is the offensive line. I'm not sure they've added enough to really cement that as being a solid, unit right now. And they do have, some decent wide receivers in my opinion. They've got probably one of the best tight ends in the game. They went out and spent an early pick on a running back, but if the offensive line can't block, it could be a bit rough for the offense. So there's definitely like concerns there, concerns on the defense. So I think that is a fair win total. And in this division, I mean, there's not much hope to be making the playoffs for them. So,
nope. We'll move over to the Broncos. Storyline here: Bo Nix year 2. When I was looking through it, like not a whole lot of other storylines other than that. I mean, they're on the upswing.
yep.
I like quiet off seasons. They made a ton of really good pickups on the defense. You want to talk about any of those?
Yeah, well, they spent their first round pick and went out and got Jedi Barron from Texas. I think he is kind of a defensive coordinator's dream. He can play safety, he can play corner, he can play nickel. You can move him all over the place. If you have an injury, he can slot in. He's just a playmaker. I think that's a fantastic pickup there. Talanoa Hufanga from the 49ers, great safety for them if he can stay healthy. For the Broncos, also adds another piece, heavy hitter, somebody who can go out and make plays. This was already a good secondary. This was already a very good defense. And they went out and made some big signings. I'm expecting big things from this defense. I think one of the main concerns is kind of same thing with the Patriots. I think this is a very popular sleeper team right now. And that just, I don't know, that kind of scares me when everybody just seems convinced that a team is like going to be really good.
So the thing that I really like about the Broncos is their defense last year, number 3 scoring defense. And like, I'm looking at the additions and the subtractions, and I think they got better. I just don't see how the defense could have gotten worse. They had Hufanga, they got Greenlaw, their draft pick. And then when I'm looking at some of these departures, you're losing your punter, you're losing Javonte Williams, you're losing Zach Wilson's. You're bringing in J.K. Dobbins, who has shown great flashes last year that he can play. Pair that with your rookie running back. I mean, everything seems like it's on the upswing for the Broncos. Their schedule is probably a little bit harder this year, and you're not going to be sneaking up on anyone, but I'm liking what I see. Vegas has got their win total at 9.5, so they got them up there. I actually got them crushing over this win title. What do you got with the Broncos?
Yeah, I think, being in a tough division, like the win total being down a little bit makes sense. I think, there is concern, like sophomore sort of slump thing with Bo Nix. He finished so strong, but now there's film out on him, so you are concerned what opposing defensive coordinators can do that. But I think this offense now has a little bit more of an ability to, I don't know. I think going out and getting an Evan Ingram adds like an extra piece that, they didn't have much out of tight end last year. When you think of Sean Payton offense, you had Jimmy Graham for a long time. Like you think of the tight end being used. Yep. And I think that's something that he was looking for. RJ Harvey adds a dynamic ability out of the backfield. J.K. Dobbins kind of was up and down last year, but still, these are pieces that kind of
this team. When I look at
work.
it, like they're built to beat the Chiefs. Like the way that this team is built, like they know that they got to beat the Chiefs. They can hold on to the ball, run the ball, and then stop people on defense. And that is, it looks everything like that is what they're doing. They're building a team to take down the Chiefs, and I mean, so is the Chargers. Really, honestly, teams in this division are building teams to stop the Chiefs. I like what they got, though. I mean, yeah, adding Evan Ingram, Jimmy Graham, and Drew Brees, they were combining for some seriously sick numbers down there in New Orleans back in, like, I think it was 11, 12, 13. Let's get over into the Chargers. Storyline here is Harbaugh year 2, and I got playoff wins, ? I think this is the year where we're looking Chargers to take another step. I think they got to make the playoffs, but I'm looking for them to get a win, at least in the playoffs. What are you thinking out of the Chargers?
Yeah, I think that they think that is very attainable. I think the offensive line is finally kind of getting to the point where Harbaugh is happy with it. I knew it was a bit of a disaster when he first got there. Last year, the tackles seemed to be squared away, but going out signing a Mekhi Becton to fill in at guard, I think that's a really big signing for them. Obviously, their guys are going to need to stay healthy, but I do think that this team is starting to kind of shape up like they're going to be able to be a bruising run team. Obviously, you had the Najee Harris freak firework incident eye issue that he's got going on now. Not sure if he's going to be ready for week 1, but luckily they spent a first-round pick on a running back and a guy that can handle a big workload. So I think that this is a team that is going to pound the rock, then hit you with play action. They've got some weapons now. This is kind of a big, I think, kind of put up or shut up year for Harbaugh, in my opinion. This is probably, in my eyes, what his vision for this team was going to be. And he needs to go win some games with it.
All right, so I'll ask you a question. Do you think the Chargers got better or worse this offseason?
Yeah, I think they got better. I think they got better because
I think better. I think regardless of why you think they got better, you think they got better. Last year they went 11-6. You think that they got better. Their over/under win total is 9.5. So it would make sense that the over would hit on something.
The only thing I'd have to say to that is every team in this division, I think, has potentially gotten better.
So their bye week is week 12. I actually, after their bye week, have them losing 4 of their last 6 games and still going 11-6. So when I look through their schedule here, I don't think it's that bad. I'll take you through it. Chiefs at Chargers, week 1. I have them losing that game. And Chiefs coming in, they're a good team. But, at Raiders, Broncos coming in the Chargers, got them ready. At Giants, we got some at Dolphins, some Colts at Chargers, some Vikings at Chargers, at Titans, Steelers at Chargers, at Jaguars. There is a lot of, I don't want to say layups, but there's a lot of layups in there. And I think this team's just absolutely walking to 11-12 wins. Chiefs got some competition in this division this year. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of that, let's get to the Chiefs. What is your thought on the Chiefs this year? What are the storylines you're hearing? What's your feel on the Chiefs?
Yeah, I felt like this offseason they did a lot to just kind of establish that their core stays together. I thought like re-signing Trey Smith, signing Karlaftis, signing Bolton, like making sure that their guys stayed there. I think that was big for them. They tried to add some smaller pieces around it. I think the running back room is still kind of in flux. There's some questions there. The wide receiver room, I think, like technically should be solid, but you've got some like questions with Rashee Rice, like how long is he going to be suspended for? Hollywood's been like dinged up again somehow in camp, so there's like definitely questions. But I think the clear thing in my mind is they've improved the offensive line, going out spending a first round pick on Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, I believe.
So with losing Joe Tooney to the Bears, you think their offensive line improved?
Yeah, because of how much of an issue Jawan Taylor was last year, like how awful that was for the offense. Like he literally would just stop drives himself. And so I think fixing that, getting a tackle in there that, they can rely on a little bit more will overall help. Yes.
Yeah, strong division. Last year they went 9-0 in one-score games. Rashee Rice is likely. They just gave Addison his suspension, so Rashee Rice is likely to come. I think they're talking at least 4 games for him, probably 4 or 5 games for Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Yeah.
But this is another situation where remember how earlier I was like, "Yo, the Bills, they got lucky with this schedule. Like all their tough games, like got scheduled at home." The same thing happened for the Chiefs. So they got 6 go either way games this year. 5 of them are at home. I'm going to read them off for you. Ready? We got Eagles at Chiefs. That's at home. Ravens at Chiefs. That's at home. Lions at Chiefs. That's at home. Commanders at Chiefs. That's at home. At the Bills away. That's the one where it's not at home. And then Texans at the Chiefs at home. I have 6 go either way games. 5 of them are at home. When you're the Chiefs and you get all those games at home, I got them going 12-5. I mean, like their win totals over under out of Vegas is 11.5, and like it just doesn't matter what you really do to this team. Like they're putting up 11, 12, 13 wins. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the really like the big concern there like is how much they really care about the regular season, how much are they putting in, like how much work is Travis Kelsey getting in the regular season? Like is he just kind of saving it all for the playoffs? I don't know. I do think that this is a team that we expect to see in the playoffs and expect to see making a run in the playoffs. They just kind of have to get there.
Yeah, I mean when they're real tough games that are at home. Like it's so hard to go into Arrowhead, win a game at 8:20 on a Sunday night when it's 30 degrees. So you can just throw in some of the wins here, just chalk it up to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes playing at home. This team is going to win 11, 12, 13 games. There's just really no way around it. Even if Patrick Mahomes isn't playing, you got Gardner Minshew and Andy Reid back there. Okay. Let's get into fantasy for the AFC West. We'll hop back to the Raiders. This is actually a fun one. I had fun with the Raiders, like just trying to see like what everyone's gonna do. I got Ashton Genty first year right off the bat, getting to 300 fantasy points and the 8th overall running back. Where are you at on Genty?
Yeah, I think Genty's a fantastic option.
I think Chip Kelly is a fantastic coach for Ashton Genty. Get a bunch of outside run zone going. I think he can be successful in that type of offense.
I think the pace that they're going to run the offense, I think Genty's underrated as a pass catcher a little bit. He absolutely can do that, especially if they're down late in games. He'll still probably be on the field, potentially catching some balls. I think he's a very good option. If you want to call him a top 5 running back in fantasy this year, I'm not going to really push back a ton on you. So, my only concern would be like potentially how many times is he getting in the end zone. But still, he's going to just have so much volume that I find it hard to believe he's not going to be up there in fantasy points.
And then we got to talk about Brock Bowers for a second. He's got to be number 1 tight end on everyone's draft board, no matter what you see. For me, he's the number 1 tight end on my fantasy draft board, and it's not by a close margin. He's like on his own level by himself. He is on his own tier, so high up that there are mocks that have him going in the first round or very early in the second round. Where do you see Brock Bowers going in fantasy drafts? I mean, it's scary to take a tight end in the first 2 rounds overall because, like, if that guy gets hurt, if he doesn't play, like, it can mess up your entire season. But when you got someone that's projected to, put up 40 or 50 points more than the next best tight end, like, it's like it can be worth it. It can be a fantasy winner right there.
Yeah, the positional advantage there is crazy.
You're basically playing a wide receiver in your tight end spot all year, like a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, so what do you think on Brock?
Again, I think this is a team that's probably going to be losing in a lot of games or at least having to score a lot of points to keep up. And if Geno throws the ball 35 times in a game, Bowers is going to be getting probably 10 of those, like targets-wise. He's a mismatch nightmare. He can run after the catch. He can do things with the ball in his hands. I think he's the tight end 1 this year, and I really don't mind spending a late first-round pick on him if you want that advantage over all other tight ends.
And just the way you're talking about that, I mean, I got Geno down here as quarterback number 18. You're saying, like, they might be losing. They might have to throw. He might have to hit 35 throws a game. I mean, I got Geno as a very safe quarterback. Very safe. Like, you don't want him in your top 10, but, like, if you got to start that guy, like, there's any given week that he can put up, 18, 22 points and get you guys a win.
Yeah, I think Geno's a bit situational. Like, you want the right matchups. Like, you probably don't love starting Geno against like the Broncos, but if you can get
I don't like starting anybody against the Broncos.
Right. But if you can get him in a matchup where he's playing a team with like a questionable defense or something, but a team that's also going to be putting up points, I mean, there is very real shootout potential with this Raiders team this year, and you probably will see some huge splash games from Geno. I bet there will be some games this year where he throws 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns because they need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm going to ask you on, how do you say this guy's name? Jack Beck? Jack Beach? What is
I thought it was Beck, but yeah.
Jack Beck? Okay, you know college better than I do. What are your thoughts on him? He's a wide receiver coming out of TCU. I mean, my opinion, I got him at wide receiver 45. I mean, it's kind of a dart throw. I don't know if that's accurate or not. What are you seeing out of him?
I believe he was at LSU before then, and he actually put up some good numbers even when they had Neighbors and Brian Thomas. So, he's a good receiver. I don't really know how to feel about him in this offense. I think he is very much worth a dart throw just because, again, I think they could be throwing a lot. I think there is opportunity for volume in this offense. So I got no problem grabbing him. You can grab him very late in your draft. Um, I think it's a very low risk and potentially decent reward pick. I don't see him being like a top 20 wide receiver or anything, but if he ends up getting 6, 7, 8 targets a game, I mean, that could be, again, startable.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the Broncos. There's some good fantasy stuff here on the Broncos. I am very high on Bo Nix. I am one of the highest people on Bo Nix. I got him at the number 7 fantasy quarterback. I got him doing a little better than last year. I really like what Sean Payton and him are doing. I was checking out the trajectory of Sean Payton, Drew Brees in New Orleans. You mentioned this earlier. They added Evan Ingram. I want to take you through a couple notes here. In 2011, Drew Brees, number 1 fantasy quarterback. His tight end, Jimmy Graham, was number 2. In 2012, Drew Brees, number 1 fantasy quarterback. His tight end, Jimmy Graham, was number 1. 2013, Drew Brees, number 2 fantasy quarterback. Jimmy Graham, number 1 tight end. 2014, Drew Brees, number 5 fantasy quarterback. Jimmy Graham, number 2 tight end. So if Sean Payton is trying to recreate a little bit of what he had down there in those years, he brings Evan Ingram in. I got him going off for a great year. Number 4 tight end. I don't think that's unrealistic. What say you?
Yeah, I think there's opportunity in this offense to catch the ball. I think you have Cortland Sutton as your clear number 1 wide receiver right now. But after that, there's definitely some question marks. I think Marvin Mims is a good player, but he has a very clear role. He's kind of your deep threat guy. He's not going to really get a ton of targets. He's not going to command a ton of volume. In a Sean Payton offense, you will have volume going to running backs in the passing game, but still, I think there's definitely a hole there for Evan Ingram to, kind of eat.
All right, and then let's talk about the running back situation. So they draft R.J. Harvey, people are high on, and then they bring in J.K. Dobbins. What are you seeing out of each of these players? I got Dobbins going in the 20s as far as running back, and I got R.J. Harvey. I'm not as high on him as everyone else is. I got him at RB 50. Sometimes for these rookies coming in, like they don't get as many touches, as many points as people think they're going to, especially with 2 guys running here. If J.K. Dobbins has a hot beginning of the season like he did last year, I don't see enough work for R.J. Harvey to be drafting him.
Yeah, I think when R.J. Harvey got drafted, people were going nuts. I think they were freaking out. They're like, this guy is going to go crazy this year. He's going to get so much volume, all that. And then they signed J.K. Dobbins, and now everybody they're kind of off him. I think there's like serious opportunity in this backfield because I think either of these guys could legitimately be RB1s if the other one goes down.
And like J.K. Dobbins is likely to go down at some point.
If the other one gets hurt, the amount of passing game volume they'll get in this offense, plus, goal line work, all of it, I think they would just basically turn into a crazy volume fueled beast. So I think throwing a dart on either one, they're both pretty far down in ADP right now just because nobody really knows which one to go or which one to take. But I think there is like serious ceiling for both of them just based on how much the Peyton offense likes to throw the ball to running backs and how much volume could exist if something were to happen to the other one.
Absolutely. All right, let's move to the Chargers. Justin Herbert, I kind of got him in that Drake May range. I got him at 274 fantasy points, 17th quarterback. I love Herbert. I think he's a great quarterback. Just not super high on him in fantasy. The way Harbaugh has him going, like they're going to pound the rock. They don't want him throwing it 30 times. They got 2 really good running backs. I think Ladd is your guy in this fantasy group. He's Ladd, and Ladd's going to have a great year. He's a top 20 fantasy wide receiver. He's just going to be. He gets the targets. He gets the catches. I'm not sure what to make on Amarian. I can't decide if he is going to. I got him at number 17 running back, and I'm a little lost on it. I can't decide like if he's going to be like a top 20 running back or if he's going to fall into like those 40s. It's hard to tell how much work Najee's going to get versus the rookie running back. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think some of the benefit for him right now is Najee's out. Najee is hurt. He can't practice because of this eye thing, so he's getting all of the work with the ones. I think even if Najee works his way back in early, I would tend to think early season Hampton's going to kind of get the nod just because he'll have the reps so far and he'll be more in just football shape. And if that's the case, you were just talking about the Chargers having a nice start to the schedule. If he gets off to a hot start, Najee just might not get much of a chance to really be the one. I really think that Hampton as a player has potential to be a top 5, top 10 back in the league. He was unbelievable at North Carolina. He can catch the ball. He will run right through you. He has handled big workloads. He's the kind of guy that, like, if you can get him on your team, could just straight up win you the league because he's in a perfect situation. I think in a solid offensive line, in an offense that wants to run through him, in a team that's probably going to be leading in a lot of games. I think they'll win a lot of games. That's a good thing as a running back. There's absolutely a path for him to be a top 10 running back this year.
Yeah, and then let's go to their rookie wide receiver they brought in, Trey Harris. Where is he out of? Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard good things about him, but just based off, the volume and the players that they have and their style of play, I don't know how draftable he is. I got him as the 64th wide receiver. That's way down the board. I mean, if you're in a 12-man league and everyone's taking about 6 wide receivers, like that's 72 wide receivers being taken. He's right there at the bottom, like an 11th round dart. I mean, 14th, 15th round dart throw.
I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm a little bit nervous for all the pass catchers in this offense. Ladd, I love the player. I think he's a fine pick, but you have him, Trey Harris, QJ, which QJ is QJ. Like, I don't know, think what you want about him. He drops it all the time, whatever. He's still going to get work. Keandre Lambert-Smith, they drafted him. He looked great in the preseason game. He's been doing really well in camp. Speedster can take the top off. That's something they need. So
I mean, that seems like an undraftable player for fantasy.
Well,
purposes.
I know,
Maybe
but still, he factors in. He factors into the game, though. This is a bunch of guys that will probably see the field and could see some work. It's just hard for me to believe that there's going to be enough volume in this passing game to go around to really feed more than maybe just Ladd. And even that, I would be concerned about Ladd as my wide receiver 1. If he was my top guy, just because I'm not sold on how much total volume he's going to get.
Interesting. I haven't heard a ton of people say that, but that is interesting that you would be concerned with wide receiver 1. He may get less volume than last year now that you say it with the building of this team, how Harbaugh wants it. Mm-hmm. All right, last team in the AFC West for fantasy, Chiefs. I have been on this for a while, how Patrick Mahomes is just kind of degrading as a fantasy football player. But I was looking at his fantasy football numbers, and every year I actually have him getting more fantasy points, but going down on the fantasy like QB depth chart. So this year, for example, I have Patrick Mahomes getting 285 fantasy points. That would put him at fantasy QB number 13. Last year, he had 283 fantasy points. That would put him at 11. The year before that, he had 280 fantasy points, and that would put him at 8. So each year, he's actually increasing his fantasy points, but going down in fantasy quarterback value just because other quarterbacks in the league are, performing better, I guess. So, I'm down on Patrick Mahomes fantasy value-wise, but just he's doing fine. There's just some other good quarterbacks who are coming into the league. Jaden Daniels type players.
Yeah, this is such a weird team to like.
It's a tricky one here with the Chiefs.
Like, they're probably going to score points. Like, they're going to win a lot of games, but it's like, who do you really take in this offense?
Who's really reliable to me? Who's just Xavier Worthy is turning out to be a reliable player who's going to be on the field and catch passes. Like, I think maybe last year we were like, all right, this guy's going to be a chess piece. Like, they'll use him here and there. He's a speedster. But, I think he proved last year that, he can handle a workload. With Hollywood Brown getting dinged up, Rashee Rice is going to be gone for probably 4 games. He's going to get a workload again. It's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, I do feel pretty confident about Worthy being on the field, and just in general, I do like that. My biggest concern is we don't have much of a sample size of what Worthy looks like when Rashee Rice is on the field. Rashee got hurt, I think, week 3 or 4 last year, and I don't know if it could be a benefit for Worthy. It could open up more things for him, but I'm just not sure what that's going to look like. I do feel like when Rashee's on the field, he's going to be a great fantasy option just because of how much Mahomes looks at him in those short and intermediate areas, those areas that Kelsey had always worked previously that, he's kind of shedding some volume to. So, I feel like there is opportunity in this offense, but I don't feel super confident enough guys to really feel good about it. This running back room is kind of chaos right now. I don't feel good about anything there. I don't know. I don't know who to go with in this offense, and that's probably going to lead me to be staying away from this offense.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I can't say it enough. I got Xavier Worthy doing okay on points, but everything else, this ball is going to be spread around to a ton of people. Rookies, draftable rookies for the Chiefs. They took Jalen Royals. He's a speedster. I don't see him as being draftable. He might be okay, but Xavier Worthy's the speedster, so I think Jalen Royals is probably not going to be much of a fantasy threat. What do you think?
Yeah, he was a good player. I'd have to see it. I think he'll probably get on the field at times, especially if Rashee is suspended and stuff. But yeah, realistically, he's a waivers guy, and if something crazy happens, I could see him factoring in. Same thing like Brashard Smith. He's like the 4th or 5th running back on this team. The big thing to note with Brashard, he actually was a wide receiver when he first got to college, and then transitioned to running back. He even played Wildcat quarterback for a bit, so mainly in high school. But he's a freak athlete, can catch the ball, but again, I'm not really sure how much he's going to really factor into the offense.
All right, that was the AFC West. We went deep dive on the AFC East, AFC West. We went real life. We went fantasy. Next week, we will get you, what is it? We did East and West. So next week, we'll do AFC North and AFC South. We are going to get into a little bit, a couple minutes here of fantasy football drafting. This week, we're going to go over spots 1 through 4. Just, get a feel for it, see where people are at as we're getting into fantasy drafts next couple of weeks. Spots 1 through 4. If you could pick 1 through 4, who are you going with here?
Who's my first overall?
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, my first overall
player.
player.
I agree. I got Jamar Chase as well. If you're 1, I think you got to go with Jamar. No reason not to. Who you got in those next couple spots there?
Going at 2, I actually have Bijan over Saquon, and then I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 4.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I got Jamar, I got Bijan, I got Jahmyr. I think Jahmyr has a good year. Saquon having a good year, but I got him there at 4. All right, if you're in the spots 1 through 4, you're taking one of those guys that we just named. Your Jamar's, Bijan, Jahmyr, Saquon, maybe even a Justin Jefferson. But where it switches up is when it loops back into round 2 and round 3. So you just grabbed your top player. It loops back to you in round 2. Who are you looking to grab here?
Yeah, so if you're looping back, you're essentially picking around 22, anywhere 21 to 24 for your second round pick. And in that window, I think you do have an opportunity if you want to go get Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. They are probably going to be right there. I think it's a really solid spot to just take one of those guys. I know it's quarterback early, but I think there's going to be opportunity to fill other spots late. And it is really nice to have that positional advantage early in the draft.
I got Lamar and Josh Allen going quarterback 1 and 2. They're the only players on my fantasy draft board that I have their numbers starting with a 4. So I got Lamar and Josh Allen putting up a crazy amount of points this year. And that second round spot, I think that's where you got to look to take a quarterback if you're in that 1 through 4 range. If you don't, though, if you don't take a quarterback, I really like a Bucky Irving, a Drake London. Yeah. If a Brock Bowers is still there, you'd
have to be very lucky. You'd have to be lucky for Bucky to even probably still be there. But I got Drake London, even a Chase Brown. If you really want to go running back early, you can just stack crazy volume if you if you take both those running backs, I think Chase
Right,
Brown's going
that's
to get a
where
ton of work this
that's
year.
swooping back around for that third round. That's where I think you're looking at like a Chase Brown, a Kyron Williams, a James Cook. I got them
I
all.
would,
Yeah, yeah.
I
What do you
personally, I'd throw Hampton in there as well if you
really?
wanted to
You got
grab
them that
Hampton.
high?
I think the potential volume there, I probably have him above potentially like a James Cook
That's
this year.
crazy. I
So
got James Cook at running back 12, and then Kyron Williams and Brown tied at 10. So you think Omarion Hampton's really in there already?
I think the potential there is just really, really good. I also have, if you wanted to go like a Trey McBride at that turn as well, if you wanted to grab a tight end, he will probably be available. And that's a super solid option that's going to get a ton of volume this year.
Yeah, next week we'll talk about spots 5 through 8, see what's available then. But until then, follow us on YouTube. Subscribe at @screenplay_podcast. We will be posting full videos on there. We're going to be posting shorts. We're going to bolster up that YouTube this year. That is, we're going to be putting some good content on there. Follow us on Instagram, on TikTok at screenplay_podcast. Get your merch on the screenplaypodcast.com. On there, you can see our picks of the week. You can also see where Andrew's going to be playing. He's starting his playoffs this week in Memphis. We got guests upcoming this preseason. We will announce those soon. We have a survivor pool coming. We are going to announce that next week so that the public can join in and play along with us. If you don't know what a survivor pool is, it's going to be a lot of fun. You pick one team every week until it's over. Yeah, so like we said, Andrew's out in Memphis at the St. Jude. He is finishing up their season while the NFL is starting their season. So Andrew's making that push for the FedEx Cup playoffs. We'll follow along there. Good luck. Any last words?
Yeah, just happy to be back, man. We got football coming on real soon. Preseason basically getting started. Had a Hall of Fame game last week. Just can't wait for it, man. So excited to have football back.
We got 3 games on Thursday, and then just announced Shador Sanders starting on Friday for the Browns. So
that's right. He's going to run into my Panthers, though.
We got some football this week. Nothing real yet, but you know it'll hold us over until we get there. But we appreciate y'all listening. Go follow Wednesdays 8 a.m. wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes now through the Super Bowl. We appreciate it.